I'm Mick.
And I'm Jackie, and we've been married for just over 12 years. We met at work, a place called Wedgwood, which is a pottery manufacturer in Stoke. And we both worked on the factory there. I was a county, and that just meant I walked around the factory counting all the wear, different patterns, and Mick worked on the kilns. Neither of us were Christians when we met, and we both had just come out of previous marriages.
Although we weren't Christians, we did feel quite strongly about marriage, that it was a good thing, although we didn't really get the thing about, because we'd both been married before, so it wasn't a thing about we were going to rush into another one, and we wanted to do it, have a really nice wedding and that sort of thing. And it wasn't something that was of massive importance then, but I think since we've become Christians, it's a far more important thing. The marriage is a far more important thing to us now than it was actually then. We
had Lewis before we got married. We'd already decided we were getting married, and we'd set the date and things like that, and we had Lewis. And I felt very strongly I wanted Lewis baptised. And the only church that I'd ever kind of had any connection with was the church where I used to live, where I grew up. And my sister was a regular worshipper there and spoke very highly of it. And I kind of thought, well, the only church connection is that, so we'll go to that church. But because we didn't live in the parish, we had to go for a 6-month period before he could be baptised on a regular basis. And it was a case of, do we want to do this? Should we just go to our parish church? Why do we want to go to church every Sunday? And it's like, completely alien to both of us, the whole concept of going to church regularly. But we did, didn't we? Mm-hmm. We both felt that pull. That's what we were going to do, so we did. And then as the months went on, we joined in more and more of the church activities that were going on, and kind of at the time didn't realise what was happening, but now looking back I know that it was God speaking to us and saying, this is where you need to be and things like that, but we didn't really recognise that at the time. And then there was a parish weekend away. We couldn't afford to go because we were both out of work at that point, and the church actually paid for us to go because they felt really strongly that we would get something from that weekend away. And as it turned out, we did, because that's when we both felt the power of God at the same time at one of the meetings, and we were both touched by the Spirit, and we made our commitment there and then. It was really special because it happened to both of us at the same time. We kind of went through the journey together from start to finish, so that was just really special, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's something we've really clung on to. And going to the church before we got married, and we were suddenly becoming more involved in the church, they never really made us feel like, oh, you've been married before and it's not right. But the only thing I would say which disappointed us is that we couldn't get married in the church that we were going to because we had both been divorced. That did change further down the line, and they did start to marry people who'd been divorced, but at that point they wouldn't, so we had to have a civil wedding. So that was a bit, not disappointing, but it would have been really special if we could have got married in our church that we belonged to at that point. Before we got married, the vicars that were there then, they offered us counselling. So we kind of went, met with them, talked about our past marriages and the baggage that had left us with. And so rather than taking that forward into our marriage, we kind of left it there and then, didn't we, at the cross, and they met with us and counselled us, and it was really special, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I think it helped. Definitely helped, because I think we would have gone into this marriage with a lot of baggage else. So.